Good day, everybody. This is E. Marcel Pertut, and welcome to another edition of the Fighting Peaches. On this version of the show, or this episode, we're going to speak with Georgia State men's soccer head coach Brett Surrency for an exclusive interview as the team prepares to host Marshall on October 27th. As always, to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership, the sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook, and look us up. And finally, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video host, which includes YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. As I said, on this edition of Fighting Peaches, we're going to be speaking with the Georgia State men's soccer head coach Brett Surrency, and we will have him in a moment. All right, and we are back with the Georgia State men's soccer head coach Brett Surrency. We were talking off camera about it. When we get to the specifics of the West Virginia match, but how difficult was that? The delay of the match and having a early flight back to Atlanta. Is that just the traverses of the road and things you just deal with as a collegiate team?
Yeah, I mean the delay is something I've never experienced in the 20 odd years I've been associated with college soccer. Having one of the lights out and then figuring out how to navigate that and get it working. And then on top of that, we started late and then we had a lightning delay, and so by the time we got back to the hotel and settled and uh, asleep, I guess, or lights turned out, it was about 1 a.m. and we had to leave the hotel at 5 a.m. So it was a fast turnaround, and then now we've got to turn it around again for Marshall on Sunday.
Yeah, no, that's tough to deal with. Now, but the West Virginia contest itself, facing a top 10 team in the nation, you're down 2-0, but Marquise was able to score a goal for you to get you back in it. Uh, what can what can you take away from that contest as you're heading towards this home stretch of the year?
Yeah, I mean, a team that last week was number one in the nation and undefeated. They dropped a game last week, which dropped them to sixth in the country. I think for us, the big takeaway is it's the small, minute details that separates top teams, and I feel like we're close, but another reminder that it's just small, little, minute things that are important, that dictate or determine wins and games at this level. So for us, hopefully, that's something that we'll be able to take on and apply to the rest of the season.
You relied so much on Justin McLean to score goals, but as I said, Marquise was able to get a goal, and you're getting. So, is that a good thing? You're starting to get some other guys involved on the offensive end, and because you have struggled to score goals this year, but you at least you're starting to see some other guys get the ball in the back of the net for you.
Yeah, and credit to Gustavo. He's worked really hard in training. He's battled some adversities in terms of some injuries and sickness throughout the year. So he's had a little bit of a stop-start type of season. But we did going into the trip have a lot of injuries and sickness where it gave opportunities for guys to make their mark and hopefully show that they were worthy of a chance. And Gustavo was probably the best example of that. Obviously grabbing a goal was wonderful, and hopefully it's something that we can build upon with him as well.
Yeah, and now at this part of the season, you mentioned the injuries, the long road trips. Just how's the team doing right now? Over, I know the record isn't where you want it to be, but just physically and mentally, where's the team at? Because it has been a grind of a stretch for you here this year.
Yeah, and I don't think we're naive to believe that we're unique in that per se. I think at this point, teams are battling, injuries and there's travel and the way that the college soccer season is constructed, there's just a lot of volume in a short period of time. So, I do think a lot of programs deal with similar things. And, as you mentioned, when you're winning and winning a lot of games, you don't think as much about those things, and maybe it's a little bit different when, as you mentioned, the results haven't necessarily gone the way that we want them to. You can use those as excuses, if you will. But, at the end of the day, the game is coming on Sunday, and we will for sure have 11 enough healthy players to play. And, if that's the case, then there's standards that we want to present, and hopefully put our best foot forward and get something out of that.
Yeah, and it's your final home match of the season, which is usually senior day or however you want to approach it. How do you approach that as a team? Because I'm sure you're going to have some friends and family for the players maybe playing their last home match, maybe just people that this is their final chance to see the team. How do you handle that stuff, even pregame, and then even just keeping the guys focused once the match approaches?
Yeah, and it's a big class that we're honoring this year. We've got 10 guys, for the ceremony on Sunday. It definitely interrupts the normal routine from a warm up side of things, but it is a great thing to honor guys that have been a part of the program and are playing their last season for us. I actually just got done telling this to the guys. I never put a heavy emphasis on senior day in terms of like let's do it for the seniors because I feel like we should always do it for everyone at all points. And that's sort of the messaging we like to preach within the team is you never know if this is your best opportunity to do something great on the soccer field in college. So you have that mentality, then you're kind of being celebratory to your teammates forever for each and every match. But it is good to take a step back and recognize specifically guys that have put in time for this program and won't be around next year, and it's good for their family and friends to put a share in that moment with them as well too. And we're excited to do so on Sunday for them.
And it's a successful class. As guys that have made the tournament, NCAA tournament, been successful there. Getting a win. Also made it through the whole COVID pandemic. I'm sure some of those guys. So, what about reflecting on those times with them? Because for a collegiate career, they've experienced some very solid highs, but then I don't want to call the COVID pandemic low, but just some challenging times in their collegiate career.
Yeah, certainly different. Than classes prior to them for sure. I mean, you look at two guys in particular with Brian Silva and Jordan Beam, who were a part of the 2021 team that went to the second round of the NCAA tournament, which no other team in Georgia State history had done. And yeah, we've got a variety of guys that were a part their first year of COVID in 2020. So it certainly has been unique and something that will definitely have an effect on, I would imagine, their lives for the rest of them because it was obviously crazy time for society. So coupling that with a pretty influential time in your life being in college, I'm sure it will have a distinct mark in their life. And for them to overcome it and combine it again with college athletics and being able to be successful and being part of a Division I team is huge. And yeah, we're certainly appreciative of what the guys have done for the program. And the one thing that I will say about our program is that the guys that leave here are leaving with us feeling like they're going to be great representations of Georgia State men's soccer. And we're always very conscious that the guys do represent us, and more times than not, are making us look really great because of their actions while they're here and then post as well too.
Yeah, and now you have Marshall coming up on October 27th, another highly regarded team nationally and a team high in the standings. What about this matchup for you? And I mean, it's a crucial time as well because you only have a handful of matches left. I'm sure you're trying to get positioning for the conference tournament. Just how's the team preparing for that, and what will you have to do well to get a positive result against Marshall?
Yeah, Marshall's a wonderful program. I mean, they've um, been at the top of the Sun Belt the last few years and one of the best teams in the nation. I think they'll come in as ranked fourth in the nation. So Coach Grassi does a great job with their program, and as you mentioned, it'll be a huge task for us on Sunday. And you're exactly right. We're in a position where we have three conference games left, and all the points are really vital. So we'll have to go out there and we'll have to play really well. I mean, like I referenced earlier, when you play really good teams and in order to get results, it's the small details. So for us, it is getting and creating some chances and making the best of those moments as well too. So and Marshall's incredibly fluid and good in possession, so we'll have to be organized defensively and be patient on that side of things. And hopefully it's something that we can do it on both ends, and we'll be able to get something out of the game.
All right, Brett. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Get some rest before Marshall, and we'll be keeping track of the results.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, we thank Brett Surrency from Georgia State Men's Soccer for joining us on this edition of Fighting Peaches. As always, to follow everything that we do, including seeing the archives of our previous interview with Brett and other entities such as Georgia Tech Volleyball, Michelle Ikaye. We spoke to her just yesterday or a few days ago, whenever you're listening or watching this, as they prepare to face NC State. We've spoken with Ed Joyce, head coach of Georgia State women's soccer, and for their upcoming matches, and even the Georgia State volleyball staff, as they are actually heading to Marshall to play a match today, as we're recording this on October 25th. So we've really updated our content, especially the Fighting Peaches, college athletics in the state of Georgia, and really harped on that. So make sure you go ahead and go to thesportsinquirer.net for the archives. You can also follow us on social media on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And look us up under Etienne Marcel Pursuit or the Sports Inquirer. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video hosts, including YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. Thank you for listening and watching this edition of Fighting Peaches. Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.